engage with you all, and I want to know your thoughts because I know what I'm thinking, but I want to know what my subscribers are thinking about this topic right here. Are Black Christian Democrats racist? And more than that, can you be a Democrat in 2025 and still a follower of Christ? And still a Christian. But I'm going to give you guys some time to come in. To everybody that's going to replay the live and watch the live, listen, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm using my old camera, so it's a little blurry at the top. Kind of see my face better right there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm a Christian Black conservative. That's important because I'm trying to draw more Black people in that are Democrats so that they can realize that conservative is the way to go, and that Republican is the way to go. But if you don't want to be Republican, I can respect it if you just be independent. That's not a heaven and hell issue, but I just don't think in 2025, to say the least, that you can be a Christian and still a Democrat unless you're like an older Black saint, because we're talking about Black people in particular right here. A lot of them are still, I hate to say it, but stuck in ignorance. Some are illiterate. They don't read and write. They're very, very old school. They don't watch the news. They just listen to a lot of their pastors. And in the wake of Charlie Kirk's passing and Trump winning, a lot of the Black bishops and pastors, whether the Baptist, non-denominational, Pentecostal, are preaching racist rhetoric. They're preaching very racist doctrine. It's not biblical. Christ is nowhere in it. It's just blank that white man. I hate that white man, and I'm with her, as Bishop Sheard said. And I just don't understand how you can be the head of a holiness church and proclaim that you're with a witch that's out here, and her whole campaign was about killing babies. So today I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts, and I want to know. No, this is not part two. This is not part two. Oh, that must be your name. That must be your name. Today I want to know, do you guys think that you can be Christian and Democrat? And then for my Black viewers, I'm trying to draw y'all in because I'm trying to get y'all over here on the conservative, Black, excellent Black Christian conservative side. It just looks to me like a lot of my Black sisters and brothers in church that are Democrats are highly racist toward white conservatives, toward Trump, toward Charlie Kirk. It seems like the same people that scream to me that Trump is a racist and hates Blacks and hates Mexicans and hates illegals are oftentimes the ones that are racist. And it's like, if you can't see beyond Trump to just be like, hey, let me pray for him. I know he's not saved. I know he's not perfect. Yes, he's very selfish, very arrogant, but I need to still pray for him because he's running for the country. If you can't even say that as a Christian, I'm talking to a lot of, specifically the Black Christians, something is wrong. And so the way I'm seeing it is a lot of my Black sisters and brothers in the churches are racist these days. I just don't understand how in 2025 y'all can still be a Democrat when the main two agendas they push, matter of fact, it's three. It's going to be abortion, transgender, and gay marriage. These are these are the main points for the Democratic agenda today. And for the civil rights of the Democratic Party today, it is gay rights, transgender, and abortion. And all three of these things are against Christ. They ought not to be so. So I would love, hello to everybody coming in. Make sure you're sharing and liking and commenting and subscribing. If you're new to the channel, welcome in. We're going to just have a discussion today. I would love for you guys to share it with your church members, specifically if you are Black, because I'm just seeing a lot of hatred from Black so-called preachers and some Christians on the internet toward the death of Charlie Kirk, toward Trump, toward even lately, just yesterday, I want to say, these two Charlie Kirk followers went on the Tennessee campus at HBCU and wanted to have a debate or a conversation, and they got basically chased off and escorted off the campus, and a Black mob of students was just antagonizing them the whole time. I just did a live about it, and to me that preaches hatred. And to hear one young lady sit up there and say very saved, very Black, very sick of this, it's just blasphemy. It's the opposite of what Christ would do, because how could you say you're very saved or very Christ-like when you're just basically preaching hate toward this man because he's a different color than you, or because you're a liberal and he's conservative. It doesn't make sense. And I think we as Black Christians need to sit down and have a conversation amongst ourselves and say, hey, are we truly being Christ-like? Is this truly what Christ would want us to do? Hate our white brothers and sisters that are Christians just like you're supposed to be? But the same ones that are out here preaching, oh, they're white supremacists, you preach Black supremacy. The ones that say, oh, they preach a white Jesus, you preach a Black Jesus, not a Jewish or a Middle Eastern Jesus, not a holy God, because that's what he is. Nothing else matters. We have to sit down and we have to really talk to ourselves and say, hey, is this what Christ would do? What would Jesus do? When it comes to Trump, even if you think he's racist, which he clearly is, and he's done more for Black people than any president, Kamala and them only gave to HBCUs to outgive him. She could care less about us. And anybody that so-called went to an HBCU was a so-called AKA, but still turns around and says she's washing collard greens in the bathtub is highly questionable, because every Black woman knows we don't wash collard greens in the bathtub, okay? So I just think she went to an HBCU and joined a Black sorority, which it's demonic now that I know that, for some Scooby points. But I say all that to say we really have to sit down and question ourselves. Wouldn't Jesus still pray for Trump? Wouldn't Jesus still give his condolences to Charlie Kirk without a but? He was racist, but he was a bigot, but he did that, but when he was none of those things? Wouldn't Jesus want us to show love? Wouldn't Jesus want us to be able to walk on a college campus, even if unannounced, as long as we're not hurting anyone, and be able to have a conversation with them? Black people go to places unannounced all the time. Please don't act like we don't. Don't let it be free food, free stuff. Matter of fact, you got Black people in California and Chicago, I'm sure, and Washington that was breaking into convenience stores locally with some illegals and with some other minorities, breaking into convenience stores, breaking into Walmarts, stealing stuff, just walking out with big old 22-inch screen TVs. I'm sorry, 52-inch screen, 82-inch TV. I mean, you got them walking in. Some of our people are really wilding out. So to see this HBCU that's supposed to be young Black excellence or young Black paraprofessionals out here hating on these two white men that are following Charlie Kirk just because of the color of their skin or who they voted for is very sad. When you hear them say it was a threat, he was a threat just because of the words he says or his speech or his beliefs, it's like, what kind of world, how illiterate, how ignorant, how small-minded do you have to be that just because somebody disagrees with your rhetoric or your doctrine or your philosophy or your politics, do you have to then say, oh, well, I need to knock you out. Oh, well, you deserve to be jumped or you deserve to be shot, or we all need to, gather around you and mob attack you, or they didn't attack him, but they basically told him, you lucky, that's all we did. We really should have beat your A. We really should have put you where Charlie is. Like, the stuff that's coming out of their mouth and the stuff they really want to say that they didn't even say, because I can read between the lines because I'm Black and I know how certain less civilized minded Blacks thinks, less intelligent minded Blacks thinks, or less classy Blacks. I know how they think, low class Blacks, or because you can be from the hood and still classy, right? It's a mindset. But unfortunately, when the daddies are out of these homes, you have a lot of single parents, and I was raised by a single parent, but when God is not involved, when your mother doesn't have wisdom, doesn't have class, and number one, does not have Christ, and she's sleeping around with men, and she's drinking and cussing, and ignorance begals ignorance. Ignorance begots ignorance. Foolishness begots foolishness. Wickedness begots wickedness. And I'm seeing a lot of this in the Black community, to the point that where we can't even have a conversation with people because they're white male conservatives, or because they voted for Trump, or we hate them. We want to attack them because they're wearing a MAGA hat. And even if you think America was never great, we know that American slavery existed and all that, that doesn't give you a right to want to assault somebody, to say, hey, you don't deserve to be in this restaurant because you have on a MAGA hat, this is a Mexican restaurant, or you don't deserve to be here, this is a soul food restaurant, and you have on a MAGA hat, or you don't deserve to be here because this store was created by Italian immigrants and you got on a MAGA hat. So, it's just, it's sad. but I feel like Black conservatives need to have this conversation more often as to where we are as a community, where we have other Black Christians out here screaming hate toward our white brothers and sisters in Christ, but claiming at the same time that y'all are doing God's work, that y'all are Christians, that y'all are anointed, that you are sent by God, like Moses was sent by God for his people. When it's two totally different things. You have something right over here, God rescuing the children of Israel from Pharaoh, from his army, who happened to be Black as well. Children of Israel and Black, Egyptians were. This is not to demonize Black. I believe in Black excellence. I believe in black beauty. I believe in Black excellence, to say the least. I believe, but at the same time, my race is not my God. I understand that for everyone, it's about having Jesus. It's not about your race. I understand that racism does exist too. And as a Black woman, I have experienced racism from some whites, from some Latinos, but I understand that's not the whole race. And at the same time, I understand that some Blacks have discriminated against probably whites, maybe some Latinos. I've witnessed that before myself. And not only that, but what was I going to say? I'm seeing it more so in the wake of Trump winning, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, to see you Black Christians on here proclaiming that you're the anointed one, but excited that a man lost his life because you think he was racist, because you don't understand his political conservative views, when you're supposed to read from the same Bible he does. And he preached Jesus the whole time, and he spoke facts to our community. We really need to take a look inside ourselves and inside the Black community and the Black church and say, what are we really preaching? What are we really standing for? Would Jesus really be pleased with this? Because like I said on my previous video, some of y'all would gather around Jesus and antagonize and mob attack him. You Black liberals, y'all would gather because y'all really just in y'all head, you just think Jesus is a Black man with dreads or an afro. But what if he's white? Or what if, because that's going to be controversial. My God, the last thing y'all want him to be is white. Y'all don't understand it really doesn't matter because he's God, he's love. But let's just say, what if he's Middle Eastern, which he is, and Jewish, right? But he's neither Black nor white, but he's somewhere like a middle-ish, light brownish complexion. Not really my brown, but y'all know the Middle Eastern complexions. You're still going to be mad. You're going to be still gathered around here talking about some Black Lives Matter. You're not Black, you don't get it. Look at you with y'all still gonna be mad. Y'all would be mad at Jesus for the way he looks. I understand the Bible. I thought he was a Black Jew too. I understand it, but now I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter. Hair of wool, or whether it said, because I thought it said hair of wool. Somebody said it. I'm not even gonna get into that. They said, well, it didn't say of, it said the color of. Whatever the case may be, I don't know. I don't think that he's Black like us. I thought he was maybe a darker complected Jew. That's what I thought the tribe of Judah was. But I neither think so much so Black American or white American. I think more Middle Eastern Jewish, and that in their own space and in their own right, although the Jews over there are still white at the end of the day. But all I have to say is y'all really need to think about it, because Jesus does not look like we want him to look. Doesn't look like most of our people, especially over here in America. So my thing to my Black people is, y'all would be mad at Jesus. Y'all would call him a racist because the way he looked, because he probably wouldn't look Black enough for you. Because some of y'all are worshiping a Black God that is not Jesus Christ. You're worshiping a God of Blackness, and you're worshiping on an idol of, oh, this is what Jesus looks like. He looks like my people. He has dreadlocks. He has afro. And when he doesn't look like this, and if y'all really saw what he looked like, you would antagonize him because he's not Black. You would be screaming around him, Black Lives Matter, get off our campus. And that's Jesus Christ. He's holy. He's God. Yes, I know the scriptures that say feet of brass and all that, but I've come to the conclusion, I've heard other people say that doesn't necessarily mean he's Black. Whether he is, whether he isn't, one thing he is holy. He's Jewish. And so none of that should matter at the end of the day. So if it doesn't matter what color he is, why are we still fighting about what color he is? And why are we treating our Christian brothers and sisters different because of what color they are, because they voted for Trump or they voted for the right political party, when as a Christian, you should be voting conservative anyway? It's not just the party of common sense now because they're trying to turn your little boys into little girls because they're trying to put men into women's sports and bathrooms, but it's the party that lines up mostly with biblical values that are trying to save unborn babies, that are telling you that we should be fruitful and multiply, and that marriage is between a man and a woman, while the Democratic Party is saying love is love. Let a woman marry a woman. Then they trying to tell your kids that at 5 and 6 years old, they should have the right to be gay, and they don't even know what puberty is yet. But this is what you Black Christians are fighting for: a demonic agenda, a demonic Democratic Party, the party that enslaved us. When the conservatives ones were the one that helped set us free, that did set us free at the end of the day, though both of them had racism, if we want to be honest. But the conservatives at that time, and I'm sure you can find some wackos on both sides, but not as much as on the liberal side. All I'm saying is it's the Christian thing to do to be a conservative and a Republican these days. But I would even understand if you said I'm an independent. I'd rather you be an independent if you're not going to be a Republican, because it's not a heaven and hell issue. But these are the people that are making the laws in the land. And God did say obey the laws of the land. So we should want godly leadership. Therefore, that's why we need to vote, because somebody's going to be a president. So you just saying, oh, Christians need to stay out of politics. So Jezebel can run the world. So Jezebel and Ahab can run the world and make the laws for your future children in the schools and for you and for your neighborhoods. We have to vote. We need godly leadership. And even though Trump isn't perfect, at least he stood on biblical values. But if you wanted to say, hey, I'm going to be an independent, I'd rather you do that than be a Democratic. This is just something I want people to talk about because we don't talk about it enough. How are you? How you doing today, brother? Yaquaba, what do you have to say about it? Are you a Democrat? Let me know if you're a Black Democrat in the chat below. It says... somebody said garbage channel. Thank you very much. Somebody said preach. You're right. God bless you. Let me know how many Black Democrats. Whoa, what's going on with this? What is going on? Let me know how many Black Democrats we have in the chat below. Hello to Rockin' Johnny. Cabrin Carter, you ain't ready, part 2. Hello, and the brother below. And just let me know you guys' thoughts. I want to make sure, we can have a conversation as well. I don't want to just be talking, but I do think that it needs to be. I'm having a little technical difficulties. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. You said neither, so you're an independent. I don't have anything to say to the independent. I'd rather you be an independent than to be a Democrat this day and time when the Democrats are... This is what I don't. I'm going to get a little deep on y'all, right? We want to go to the pro-blackity-black schools that are chasing the young white Charlie Kirks off of these young men aspire to be like Charlie Kirk. And since Charlie Kirk did care about the Black community, that's why he spoke facts about the community, but he never actually went to the HBCUs. They're saying, let's be greater. Let's bridge the gap. Let's go to the HBCUs. At least that's why they went to Tennessee State, to have a conversation, to bridge the gap. Not to say I'm better than you little blackity-blacks. We're this, we're that. You're just little DEI hires, but to have a conversation to say why they believe this and believe that. But the pro-blacks out here, and I'm a pro-black, but I'm a Christian one first. So I'm pro-Jesus first. I love my people. I am for my people. But when they're wrong, I'm going to call them out because I'm for Jesus first. But for you to be so pro-black that you hate the white man and hate the white Christians that are funding HBCUs, tell me why you screaming, right? Tell me why these students at Tennessee State are screaming Black Lives Matter to these young men that are following in Charlie Kirk's footsteps, when these same Black women screaming Black Lives Matter, even at these HBCUs, are the ones that are aborting our little Black babies. When Black babies die more at the hands of Black women than any white man that will ever come into now they don't even have a future because the Black moms have killed them. Can we speak about that? You same pro-Black students, the ones that hate white folks so much, the ones that fund HBCUs more than your Beyonce and Jay-Z. They gave a little money to Benedict College in North Carolina. More than your Rihannas, more than your Nas, more than all your little rappers and all that, right? Because they're not funding, but y'all paying $2,000 to go to her concert, but they're not funding you. It's the white Christians, right? It's MAGA that's out here funding these. It's the older white Christian conservatives that are funding HBCUs. I've seen it. I've been to 3 HBCUs. I'm attending an HBCU right now online. But for you to sit up there and scream to this man, Black Lives Matter, when did he say that they don't matter? Just because he got on a MAGA hat doesn't mean he's racist. If Black Lives Matter so much to you young pro-Black students at these HBCUs that hate white people, why do you keep killing your babies? If Black Lives Matter so much, then why are Black women the #1 woman in America to kill Black babies? Why is abortion the #1 killer of Black people? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry it didn't fit your little racist rhetoric, because it's not the white man. It's your mama. It's you. It's your auntie. It's your sister. It's your grandma. It's them. They are the reason that a lot of the Black population is declining and is on a negative, because they killed their babies and are killing their babies and are fighting to kill their babies and stay on the democratic plantation. When God said in his word, for you Christians like this lunatic in the video talking about very Black, very saved, and very tired of this. No, you're very racist. You don't have Jesus, and you're on your way to hell if you don't repent, because God is love. He told us to love our enemies, so you can't even have a conversation with this brother because he got on a MAGA hat and because he's white. No, God is not in that. You need to get the Holy Ghost, else you're going to hell, because you're not born again. You serve the God of blackness. But I forgot where I was going. All I was saying was, for y'all to preach this Black Lives Matter so much, you don't live it. We're the #1 race that kills our babies in America. The white man isn't the threat. The Black woman is. The most dangerous place for a Black man and a Black woman in America, in the US of A, is not in the presence of a white man, not in the presence of a white cop, not in the presence of a white person, but in the womb of a Black mother. Because Black babies are the #1 race that are on the decline and are murdered more than any other in America. So if Black Lives Matters to these Black young folks out here that hate white folks and hate the people that are funding HBCUs, because they're the #1 ones that are more than our people even fund our schools. They get on these radios and they tell you, oh, donate, but they don't fund, not even your Black millionaires, not even your Tom Joyners and your Charlemagne the Gods, lowercase g. No, it's the older white Christian white folks that know slavery existed. They want to give back. My mama said she was in Salmon Cancer Center, and my mother's name was Yvette Bridges. She worked as the main receptionist at Salmon Cancer Center from 2000 to 2012, downtown Dallas. Okay, she had a lot of patients. A lot of people loved her of all colors. She had a lot of rich white patients. She worked with the Pilgrim Pride Chicken Man or something. He made the Pilgrim Pride Chicken, and all these people, she would run into millionaires all the time, and they would tell her, I got so many millions of dollars, but I can't heal myself from cancer. And she said some of the white people would say to her, I know I'm going through this because of what my ancestors did to Black people. She told me that one white man told her that. She said, I know I'm paying for what my ancestors did to Black people. Now we can get into this whole thing out of sins of the father and whatever, but he acknowledged it. That's what he said. That's what he felt, whether we agree or disagree. So to that same right, or to that same definition of feeling, you have some white people that do have white guilt because of what their ancestors did to our ancestors. And I don't think nobody owes me nothing. I don't think you have to have guilt because you're a different person. As long as you choose to be different and serve Jesus, is all that matters. But it doesn't stop some people from having that. And when they do, and they're Christians, what they tend to do is give to HBCUs because they know we're the descendants of those once enslaved people whom their ancestors mistreated, and that makes them feel better, and that helps them please God. And that's a way of mending what their ancestors had did so horribly wrong. They give to the HBCUs. They want us to be Black excellence. They want us to go and be great, what our ancestors didn't have a chance to be. And so for us to turn around and tell their great-grandchildren and their grandchildren, get off our campus when it's their grandparents that are funding our HBCUs, that's wild. It's crazy. We got to talk about the racism within the Black church, because it exists. And I'm starting to think y'all are more prevalent than half these white people y'all saying are racist. And I'm not saying that there are white people that are racist, because they are. There are. I've experienced it. And when I see it, I can't stand racism. I'm going to tell you quick, I ain't no slave for nobody. I'm not the one. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times the ones that are screaming racism within the Black church, we need to take an eternal look at a mirror within ourselves. And we have to realize the rhetoric we're preaching, the hypocrisy we're preaching, and that is not of God. Because at the end of the day, even if you've experienced racism like I have, you have to forgive. You have to realize it's not the whole race. It's on a case by case scenario, and that black people can be racist too. It's a lot of black people that hate white people because of what they did years ago, or their ancestors did, because we never experienced slavery. We're the descendants. So it can go both ways. So it's a choice you make. But as a follower of Christ, black, white, or anything in between, racism should not have a place in our heart. And if we give it to God, he'll get the racism, the prejudice, the hurt out, the bitterness, and he'll show us how to love like Jesus, no matter what people look like. And as a Christian, he'll show us how to vote right. And when you vote right, you should be voting conservatively to save baby lives, to promote marriage between a man and a woman, to promote Americans first. And that just because I believe in legal immigration, Americans first, doesn't mean I hate illegals or I want to mistreat them. But there has been some criminal illegals that have killed American women, black and white. That's just a fact. Does that mean they're all bad? I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure some want a better life, but there's also some that came over here and bought gang violence and took over neighborhoods in Chicago, in Denver. I mean, it's also some very bad illegals out here. Does that mean they're all bad? No. Does that mean I'm going to support it? No. I still support legal immigration, but does that mean I hate people? No. I have the love of God, but I still believe in the laws of the land. I'm not perfect by any means. They kicked me out the army basically for failure to adapt. And they had the audacity to say misconduct because I asked for a room change. I didn't get it wrong along with the previous roommate. She cursed too much, used too much. She was always playing loud music, and we didn't get along. I asked him to move me. They put me in a room with this other young lady, and she happened to be a bully, and she thought she was going to bully me. We ended up getting into a fight, and so my colonel turned around and put misconduct because she struck specialist so and so. I'm saying I was supposed to get beat up. I was supposed to let her punk me. So I've been through some things. I know what it's like to be looked down. Oh, you ain't nothing. You got kicked out the army. I was in for 16 months. I was with the lady that separated me for 2 months. They had just started me in therapy. I was supposed to go through therapy for about 6 months to a year before they even said, oh, you're so bad to be put out, which I was a good soldier. Hating exists. You know, I experienced some stuff from that sergeant, but I also experienced love from another sergeant that was the same race. So it's not the heart, it's the spirit. But I say all that to say, you know, I know what it's like to be discriminated against. I know what it's like to be cheated. Yes, I have a mouth. Sometimes I've gotten myself in trouble with the mouth, but something so big where they had to put me out, no, but they did. And life goes on. God turns it around. So there's no excuse. We can't hate people because of what happened and what didn't happen or what they took away from us. I take responsibility that I have to work on my mouth because I have a bad temper when I get upset. But I also realize other factors played into it. Sometimes females can be very cliquey-ish, and when you don't fit into a clique, jealousy plays a part. Even being pretty, that plays a part, because my sergeant looked all right. You know, maybe she looked different when she got out and pulled her hair down and put some makeup on, because otherwise than that, she looked all right. But so that she would always, I only say that because she would be like, oh, she got on makeup. I only say that to say, you know, I've experienced discrimination. I've experienced some things too, but I'm not letting that hold me back. I can't blame the world. I'm asking God to work on me. And then even when they took it out and put me out and took my GI Bill, God doubled it all back to me. So we can't use that as an excuse to hate people or to say, hey, I'm a black woman, black man. And at the end of the day, it was a black woman over her that still signed it for me to be put out. So we can't use that and say, hey, I got these stripes against me. I can't be nobody. So therefore, I'm just going to hate white men or hate all conservatives or hate Christians. That's not of God. And then I don't know how you're hating other Christians when you claim to be a Christ follower, when you claim to be a Christian. So that's all. I just kind of wanted to start up a conversation tonight. And so if you have any black Democratic family members, and we all do, tell them to hop on the live. What we conservatives want to do is talk, but a lot of y'all don't want to talk. Y'all want to fight or kill. And I think that's the difference between the parties. Y'all say it's crazy on both sides, but I don't see it. I see it more on the left. We're not out here beheading people like ISIS and like the person that took out Charlie Kirk. You know, I'd rather listen to you rather than respond. I'm listening. Well, God bless you, young man. Y'all just y'all just keep listening then, even if you don't want to. But that's just it. See how you're willing to listen? I wish that other black young people, millennials and Generation Z, and even the ones coming up under them, will be willing to listen. But guess what? Not just when it's the opposite sex and when it's somebody that's probably you might be attracted to, but when it's somebody that doesn't look like you. You know, my mama taught me that, it may be somebody that you might be a white woman that can teach you something or give you something that maybe a black boss couldn't or something. You got to be willing to listen to all different people who are there to help you and who are there to better you. The best female that's ever taught me anything in my life besides my mom was a Hispanic woman. I don't know if she was Puerto Rican, Colombian, maybe I don't know, Cuban. I don't know what she was, but she was a bad Latina, Mexican. I usually can tell, but with her, I couldn't tell. She had like white skin, but she carried herself as a black woman. She must have grew up with black people, and she was just black. But on the outside, she was Latina, but she was beautiful. She taught me how to have discipline. She said, everybody's not gonna be able to baby you. You gotta get it together. Everybody's not gonna understand. I'm worried about you when you get in big army. And I guess she had a reason to because they put me out. But she cared and she took time and she disciplined me, but she also showed me love. And that's what stuck out the most. She didn't baby me. She was strict. She was bad. Man, I wish I knew her name, man. Down there at Fort Jackson, right? South Carolina. Oh my gosh, she was bad. She was sharp too. She be out there and she do a salute and she disciplined me, like I said, but she took time to talk to me, encourage me, tell me how to better myself, tell me how to grow up. And nobody's ever done that besides my mom and perhaps a few, black teachers in their own way when I was growing up. So I'm saying to the black youth, you don't always have to have somebody that looks like you. And I feel like y'all are willing to take it from Hispanics because they say, blacks and browns. But I feel like sometimes y'all hate white people, just white, non-Hispanic, right? Or I feel like sometimes black people can be racist just because somebody isn't our color. And not to say that doesn't happen to us, because it does. Even when we go into beauty supplies, you got some Asians following us like we stealing. That's why we got our own beauty supplies now. Sometimes they talking about us when they doing it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to us, but all I'm saying is you don't want to limit yourself just because that person doesn't look like you. I was watching this gang, like this black man work with young men that were in gangs, and he was trying to get them on a better path. And he had some Bloods and he had some Crips, and he had, like, most of them were black. Then he had a Hispanic one. The Hispanic one was racist and he wasn't feeling blacks like that. So he always had attitude with the dude. And the dude was telling him, like I'm telling y'all now, it might be somebody that's not your color that helps get you to a better place. You got to be willing to humble yourself. That helps save your life, that helps promote you, that helps teach you something that you might have never known, or add to what you've already been taught, but help bless you more than your own people. But if you're willing to just be divided based off of who look like you or who you feel is more with your people, and you just blocking out certain people based off of their political views, even though I don't rock with lefties like that, but I'm still willing to be respectful and listen and have a conversation if they ask me to. That's the difference. I'm not willing to say, oh, that's a white woman, she can't teach me nothing. She might can teach me how to be a great business owner. Nobody taught me how to be a business owner. My mama told me how my grandmother used to own her business, but then my grandmother went to the projects and gained a project mentality. She lost that business mentality. It's stuff that people can teach us, but they might not look like us. And if we're not going to be able to humble ourselves and be Christ-like and willing to learn, we're going to miss out on a blessing, miss out on a mentorship, miss out on a great relationship that will be very beneficial and helpful, not only to us, but to our children. That could cause like $1 million franchises, like a new Walmart, a new this or new that. But because you missed it because they weren't your nationality, it didn't look like you, or you're a liberal and they're conservative, when God is trying to pull you out of there anyway, you might miss your blessing. And we don't want to miss God because the blessing didn't come the way we thought it should look, or because we're really racist on the inside, or because of what mama and auntie said that was only trapped in this project-like mentality where all whites are racist and all white conservative men are all this dumb stuff. When you need to get out there and do your research and experience the world and people, have conversations with them for yourself, not just based on what the people from the hood or the people at your HBCU said. Do your own research, have your own conversations, and analyze your own evaluations, your own theories, your own conclusions based off of your personal experiences with the person, or your own research, not what the group around you has said, because you could miss your blessing that way. God could be trying to make you an entrepreneur, a business owner. Yes, we got Black excellence business owners, entrepreneurs and all that, but he might want you to work in Asia, in Rome, with some, different people that don't look like you. I ain't working with them white folks. I ain't working with them Asians. I ain't working with them Jewish people. I ain't working with them. I ain't working with them white folks. That white man. He got on a MAGA hat. I ain't working with him. And that might be, and most of them are Christians anyway, that might be the sweetest white man in the world, full of the Holy Ghost, but you judging based off of some non-factual stuff. Because Trump, I don't care what y'all can convince me that man is racist. He done did too much for black folks, giving to HBCUs, trying to create black business, fighting for black jobs. Yes, he's selfish. Yes, he's prideful. Yes, he's arrogant. But that man, I'm tell you one thing, he ain't racist toward no black folks. I don't think he's racist at all. I think he's arrogant and selfish and a businessman. But that's also what makes him a great person to run the country. He doesn't do everything right. I don't agree with everything he's done right. I don't agree with him taking away Job Corps, even though it had low percentage numbers. The HBCU I went to was Job Corps, but I didn't get it through Job Corps. But my mama didn't have a car to drive me out there at the time, and I had just left TWU because I had actually experienced some racism. And I was praying, and God, she said, I'll come pick you up. She came and picked me up, so I might as well. I could have been just like a Job Corps, but I was on the dean's list. I made A's and B's. I went to class, and I witnessed some students that stayed and got high. Other students went to class, and I witnessed both the best worlds. But I don't agree with it still, because there's some students that was using it. But I understand from a business perspective why he did it. The numbers were low. When I think about it from a professional business perspective, I get it. When I think about it from Black excellence and I want my people to make it, I'm like, man, why he do that? The poor, the poor, see, it's still a percentage that even if that 20-40%, then it's worth it. But I get it from both sides. I don't get it. I heard that he took away the scorched back photo. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with everything, but I agree with a lot of what he does, and we need to pray for him. So thank y'all for joining the conversation. I'm about to go, and please like, comment, share, and subscribe. These are more conversations that Black Christians need to have, and the Black community. We shouldn't be gathering around white MAGA, white conservatives, white people, just because they have on a MAGA hat or they're Charlie Kirk followers or Trump followers, and acting like the mobs treated us in the early 1900s right before they lynched. We shouldn't be doing these things. It's very hypocritical to scream Black Lives Matter and to scream, oh, you're racist, when y'all are the loudest ones. That man didn't say one word as y'all was escorting him off the campus. He was humiliated. He was embarrassed. He just wanted to have a conversation. It wasn't about him uplifting himself and putting y'all down. He wanted to bridge the gap. He wanted to do what he thought, hey, this would have been even greater if Charlie Kirk could have did this. I looked up to him, but let me bridge the gap. Let me go to the HBCUs. Let me show them that we don't think we're better. We just want to have conversations. Instead of us just bringing y'all up, why don't we actually come to y'all and talk to y'all? But when they do, I want to get your mother blinking, my white mother blinking. You lucky that's all we did. That white mother blinking, it's the mother B.A. mother blinking. Do you know how bad that makes us look? Do you know the representation that gives us? And then they saying they were very respectable, they carried themselves with honor and dignity, flicking them off, gathering or yelling at him, touching all on the security on his shoes and on his shirt, talking about, look at your shoe, touching all on. That should have been a fight right there. But that man carried himself very well, because we're not supposed to fight. But look how these youngsters was acting. It's not respectable. It's not professional. This is what creates an environment of unprofessionals. You see how all those young Black people were acting at Tennessee State. Who's teaching them? No one is stepping in the gap. And when I was at Texas State, I was in a class and I had said the correct answer to it. And one young lady, she was still ignorant. I hate to say it. She didn't have that much intelligence. She didn't understand it. She was kind of stupid. I'm just going to be honest, because now I see where it's coming from. And they made me leave the event we were having, bought a guest speaker because I was right, and to make her feel less stupid instead of saying, it's okay. Yeah, that's the right answer, but it's okay. We'll get there. They told me to leave because they want to keep these young Black people that are, some of them that are from the hood and stupid, and want to baby them instead of saying, it's okay, you don't got it yet, we going to help you get it. Yes, sister, you right. You go ahead now, and we going to help you get it. Come on, just stick around. You got to encourage both of them. But if you sitting up there and cradling stupidity, racism, and ignorance and hatred is what they're doing at some of these HBCUs, where they can't even have a conversation with people that think differently, even though these people mostly have Christ more than them and are fighting for American and Christ-like values, then you create a generation of unprofessional, degenerate hateful, racist people. These same people that go out and be teachers, lawyers, and doctors and indoctrinate your children with woke theories, with theories like non-binary teacher. You know, the black girl from Brooklyn talking about my pronouns are they, we, and were. That's improper English. This is what you create when you have these HBCUs that foster racism, hatred, ignorance, and unprofessionalism, where they're flicking people off, harassing people, walking down him, yelling at them and screaming, talking about you lucky. This is what you create. And then you're supposed to give these people degrees for them to go out there and be teachers, lawyers, and doctors, and they're not even professional. The way they carried themselves on that video showed you that these are not professional people, and that's a problem. That's why I clashed with my generation. That's why I clashed with that lady in the Army, because a lot of my generation are just like these kids you saw at Tennessee State. They're not professional. If they wasn't raised right, they're not professional. But yet you getting degrees, you getting master's degrees like you highly educated, but y'all are fostering stupidity and ignorance. And then you want to say it's black excellence. Then you want to say you educated. Then you want to say you have respect, you have honor, dignity, but you really don't. You're very ignorant. You're very racist. You're very wokey and leftyism. But they foster this at some of these HBCUs. And this is what produces this generation of unprofessional degenerates that are full of hate, racism, and woke lefty theoryism. This is what tarnishes our future children and the future generation when you don't correct when they're wrong. Hey, y'all may not agree. See, back in the day, even if we didn't agree, we could talk to you. No, I don't agree with that. I'm more of the Dr. King philosophy. I'm more of this. I'm more of the Malcolm X. But you know what? I appreciate you for talking. That's how it was back in the day. Our parents, they had class, they had respect. They could at least be respectful in the moment. This Generation Z, and some of the millennials, some of y'all have been fostered, and some of the heads are at fault for fostering this ignorance and babying and cradling y'all when they should have correct y'all foolishness, when they should have correct your unprofessionalism, correct your racism. But because they're teaching it to you, y'all are fostering this. God's going to deal with y'all because he's not for it. Black community, we need to get ourselves together. Y'all could have disagreed with that man and still showed him that you was intelligent, black excellence, and worthy of having a conversation with, and worthy of the government funding your school when half of y'all don't even pay your education, because I didn't pay it. I couldn't afford no $30,000. I was on financial aid, government assistance. Only reason why I'm in school online is because the Army is paying for it now. Guess who's paying for the HBCUs? American tax dollars and MAGA, white elderly Christians. Many different people, but a vast majority are white elderly Christian millionaires who probably voted for Trump. And since you hate them so much, guess what? I hope they defund you because of how you act. And I hope this HBCU is not, I hope there are some HBCUs that believe in black excellence and they have Christian conservatives like me. I hope y'all all do not support this. And I hope the ones that do show themselves. And I hope that somebody stands up and say, we may not agree, or at least we don't support that. I want them to say we don't support it. But even if they can say we don't agree, but we don't also agree with the way that they handled that situation. They could have just had the cop escort him. They didn't have to follow him yelling and screaming and all this. That wasn't necessary. And I was not a conservative all my life. I was born into a Democratic home. We voted Democrat for years. It wasn't until 2011, 2012, my mama voted for Trump, and I started listening to P4CM gospel poetry in California back when I was 17, 18. And I heard this one dope black dude say, I'm not just voting conservative because it's the right thing to do. It's the Christian thing to do. I was like, whoa, light bulb went off. And then I started researching. And I started saying, yo, they kind of right. The left is going very woke. It's going very demonic. And I started seeing over the years, especially when Trump came out, how the left started, and then before Obama got out, he legalized gay marriage. It started coming in, but it didn't happen right. Like I saw it casually happening. Because even when I went to TW at 2012, they still had gospel groups. By the time I went back in 2017, I should have stayed at Jarvis. It had went all the way woke. When I was there in 2012, they was having Bible study at TW. They was giving out pizza. You could talk about Jesus. By the time I went back in 2017, it was all the way woke. UNT of Denton, all the way woke. They persecute you if you Christian at UNT of Denton. But back in 2011 to 2012, it wasn't like that. That's how in a few years change has come. That I'm letting y'all know that I was a Democrat at first in a Democratic house. But then my mother and I switched. And then I was that little girl. I told myself, no matter what, no matter how much money I get, I'm going to stay a Democrat, because a Democrat is for the people. They're for the poor. They're for the average man. You know, it's for the one that people forget about. I said that. Then I got old and I realized, yo, this party is very demonic. And how can I be a Christian? Not one of them elderly ones that are illiterate. They sweet, but they ignorant. They can barely talk. They sound like they're still on the plantation, but they sweet. And a lot of them are saved, but they don't understand the politician part. All they know is they family was Democrat. They tell them Democrat. They passed the hate Trump. All the white folks racist. That's all they know. You know, they might know some good white folks, but as far as the politics, they think all that they illiterate and they're ignorant. Some of them, and they sweet, but that's just the truth. I'm sorry, y'all gonna be mad, but that's just true. I've been in the church. I've been in the black church my whole life. There's no such thing, because we all one church in Christ. But what I mean is a gathering that's predominantly black, and what I see is that a lot of the elderly black are stuck in these ways, and so they just assume Trump is racist. They don't do no research. The pastor said he racist, so he racist. Nobody does research, especially the elderly ones. But for the younger ones that do research, that you can read, you can write, you can watch the news, because you know you can watch the clips in the video, not just clips, the whole videos, and you can do your research, gather your facts, analyze your own conclusions, then do it. Do that and come off of the democratic plantation. You can't tell me you can be a Christian and not these elderly, less educated, our mothers and grandmothers, and especially our great grandmothers. Some of them are educated, some of them aren't, and we love them dearly, and they're so sweet, but they're stuck in ignorance. That's an excuse for them. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. God would not have us to be ignorant of Satan's devices. A lot of the elderly Christians in the black church are ignorant. I hate to say it, but it's true. And they stuck in their ways, and they experience racism, so they just gonna see them all as racist, even if they're not. Even if they want to help their great grandkids and pay for their HBCUs and give them a new car, and even if they, oh no, he's racist, I don't, you know. So please, y'all. That's it. I said what I got to say. Leave y'all comments below. It's time for us to talk. Stop running MAGA away. Stop running the white male conservatives away and have a conversation. If you were intelligence, if you were black excellence, if they were really respectful like y'all saying Tennessee State was, and these other HBCUs defending them, they probably got, what's y'all graduation rates? Please have a high graduation rate. Please don't do all that and you have a low graduation rate and you government funded. They paying for your school, you kicking them out, and y'all probably don't even graduate. I'm rooting for HBCUs. I believe in black excellence, but when they act like this, I can't defend that, because wrong is wrong. I don't like bullies. I don't like where y'all handled that. Y'all could have just told him to leave and escorted him out. Y'all didn't have to follow him screaming, yelling, being like a clan, a mob. Y'all need to be defunded, and anyone that supports that needs to be defunded. I only hope that there are real HBCUs that still represent the black elites, black class, black intelligence, and black excellence, and black Christian conservatives. And if they are, by chance, stuck on the Democratic Party, that they could at least be civilized and carry themselves with, I don't know, common sense, intelligence. Guess that's too much to ask, though, for these young degenerates that are raised off of this racist woke black theory in these HBCUs. I hope there are some. I would hope that Hampton has some black conservatives. I would hope that maybe they could have had a conversation. In the future, I would say to Charlie Kirk followers, and even I want to start going to the HBCUs, wherever, and debate whoever, and just have conversations. I would say it's probably best to schedule it, reach out to them. Hey, can I come? Can we have a conversation? If they say no, okay, you tried. Because they're going to just make up stuff. Then you have people up there talking about they came uninvited. It was a risk. It was a threat. When most HBCUs are in the hood, when you have kids at North Carolina A&T getting shot just while partying, the bullet wasn't even meant for them. They get shot just by having block parties because the neighborhood is so bad. North Carolina A&T. Some of these other HBCUs, kids just out there partying, out there Friday and Saturday, just get shot. Because you got more of a risk being at an HBCU, because most of them are in the hood, than these two black men coming on the HBCU having a conversation with y'all about politics, about why black fathers are needed, or about why abortion is highest in the black community. Don't y'all care? These are your people. He's just trying to have a conversation, but y'all talking about he a threat. No, we more of a threat to each other Black on black crime is a threat. Black people are killing black people. Unfortunately, black men are killing black men. Unfortunately, black men are unaliving their black girlfriends and wives. Unfortunately, that's the facts. And I wish the pro-blacks and your Malcolm X followers and your what's this dude, y'all, Farrakhan would tell y'all the truth. Besides just dressing up in their little bean pie and bow tie and preaching black entrepreneurship, which is good and all that, we can go and be black excellence. But how about telling your sons to stop killing their future girlfriends when they should be married? That's what Charlie Kirk was saying. Stop making babies and running and stick around and be a father. How about telling your black men to be black men? How about telling your fathers to stick around and stop killing the other black brother because he finna go off and play in the NBA? And before he leave for college, you shoot him. How about telling black people to stop being jealous of other black people when they trying to be somebody instead of sit around the hood and get high all day? How about starting with us? How about telling your black queens to stop aborting their babies? How about telling young black people to get back to God, the reverence and living for God and marriage instead of whoring around? How about that? How about telling black youth to stop hating the white man, go listen and learn from the white man and anybody else that you can so that we can be great? How about we start loving each other because that's what God called us to do? How about we start obeying God and stop being partial? How about we stop being racist, but we preaching racism? So I'm done. Leave your comments below. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you for tuning in. I love y'all. Black church, you got a lot of racism you need to deal with. Yes, racism exists in some white folks and in different groups of people. You know, it's a spirit. But guess what? As Christians, we ought to be held to a higher standard. We have to love our enemies. So I'm done. Molly, did you have anything you want to say? What did Molly want to say? It's just like a bowl of ice cream. When you have ice cream, you may want vanilla on Monday, chocolate on Tuesday, strawberry shortcake on Wednesday, butter pecan on Thursday. Well, that's how God made us. He loves diversity. But we shouldn't want to get hired just on the color of our skin, DEI, but for what we are able to bring to the job, for our abilities, for our resume, for what we can do for the job, for the people, you know, based off of our skill set, not what I look like. I don't want a hand me out. I want to know that I worked just as hard to get here and I got this because of my skill. Not because of what I look like, not because you needed a token black. I'm too intelligent for that. I'm too classy for that. I work too hard for that. And I'm not stopping here. I'm going to get my master's and PhD, and I'm not going to be racist while doing it. I'm going to show the love of God. So why can't we love each other just like we love those different flavors of ice cream? You don't just want one flavor. You want cookies and cream. Why can't we be like cookies and cream and blacks and whites love each other? That's my favorite. Why can't we be like butter pecan, brown and white coming together? Why can't we be like strawberry shortcake and mix all those flavors up, or Dutch and all these other flavors? Why can't we be like Napoleon? Dynamite. I'm just playing. Why can't we love each other? Bye. God bless y'all. Okay, I'm gonna end it with this scripture. How can you say that you love Jesus whom you've never seen and you can't even love each other because we're different colors? You know what? I just hope that a lot of these black kids, the black girls out there in the audience that hate white people, I hope that Jesus moves in such a way that they fall in love with a white man and God removes that hate out of their heart. That those black men fall in love with a white, rich, conservative girl and God moves in such a way he removes that hate and he brings people together and he breaks the prejudice, the hatred, and these theories that were there, some from the past and some that are made up. Due to the ignorance and the racism that is promoted within the black kingdom, and brings people together and promotes the love of Christ. And when you have the Holy Spirit, he's going to wash that away. But some of y'all got the Holy Spirit and you're racist. You need to go back to the altar. God bless y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, my brother. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And it's more where that comes from. Love you. God bless. Uh-oh. Molly, no. Oh, no. I saved her. She's okay. She's okay, you guys. Bye. This is just getting weird, isn't it? All right, maybe I'll do like a kid show or something.